put it on this computer. Cool. Hannah, well, thank you for joining me. I don't know where to begin. I mean, like, let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust. Cool. Um, Hannah, yeah. I was obviously super impressed with your CV and your talk at Lightwork when that's how I was really first introduced to your work. When was it? November-ish last year.
Yeah.
But I'm just fascinated with your style too. It's just kind of similar, just like with the kind of with kind of what I was doing. But I guess just to kick off, how did you get into what drew you to film and photography in the first place? I mean, what kicked it off? Like, yeah.
Yeah. As a kid, I was always a observer. Sorry, my printer is going to sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
I was always an observer, and I've always I preferred watching and listening than talking. So I was really shy. I was really quiet as a kid. And then my dad gave me my first camera, and I just I loved it because I could wander off on my own and just continue to just look around and just go on walks and take pictures. And then my high school had a dark, or my junior high and my high school had a dark room. So that's what really got me into photo in the first place. And then it wasn't until years later I got into filmmaking. Probably it wasn't until grad school I got into filmmaking, and I'm more self-taught in filmmaking. So yeah.
Like, well, for me, like compare, like I think you're like a year older, younger. Sorry, I 85 for me. I've been all over the place. So like, I didn't know what I want to do. Like, photography found me 4 years ago. Photography and finally art. But it's funny. I studied. I was studying criminal justice. You know, I have a degree in criminal justice, and my first year, I went to University of New Haven, and I went there because I was fascinated with forensic science, and so I kind of flashed back, and then I kind of bounced around three other schools, and graduated from Johnson Wales in Miami, and but what I guess what looking back, and then I kind of went. I'm from Boston, sorry, and I went back to Boston after graduation, and I worked in security and stuff, and that was once again, actually, that trained me to observe. I'm very keen with observation and human behavior, right?
Yeah.
And that's what fascinates me about documentary photography. You know, the ability to, just observe natural occurrences, or just walk wherever and observe how we interact on a day-to-day basis. And then, so just to kind of, surmise on my end, then I just kind of ended up in Brooklyn somehow. So that experience, I dove into, I just picked up from Boston late 2016 and moved to Crown Heights. And that was an interesting experience. It's just a whole new world, totally diverse comparatively to Boston. And so I met some guys seriously into camera work. So then I just picked up the camera, and I know my current partner kind of just saw my work on my walls at the time and kind of pushed it to like Pace Magazine. I just started shooting music and stuff, but reflecting through all that, I guess to I found my studies and interest in sociology and anthropology and larger scale human systems really tied into photography, or when I started digging deeper into it. So I guess, so to kind of surmise, to kind of wrap back to you, I was kind of leading towards like um having, where did you have that interest of like human, why we do what we do, the behavior, the sociological aspects, say in college, undergrad, uh, that led to, further studies in photography at Yale, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, was interested in anthropology and sociology, like, but I didn't. Yeah, I've always been interested in people and why why we do things, or like why we're the way we are, you know. Um, so yeah, definitely. In college, I took a few anthropology classes and social classes, and yeah, definitely have an interest in our society and just our behavior as beings, our brains, and how we respond to each other and interact with each other, for sure. Yeah.
So, can you speak about like your first initial big project you kind of concepted, and then kind of went through the uh, put together and then exhibited? Like, can you talk about that process? I guess.
Yeah, I guess that was in college, for sure, like my senior year of college, just graduating, that's um it's a part of the degree. You like the seniors have a little show at the end. um but yeah, my first, like, I think I mentioned this in the light work interview, but like when I was in school, I switched my majors like 3 different times in the photo department. Like I was photojournalism, and then I was advertising, and then I switched to fine art.
Mm.
um and fine art really fit for me because I'm also a thinker. Like, I guess, like, as an observer, I'm also in my head, so
Mm.
like, um so, and the very first project I did as like a fine art major was just photographing adolescents, like making portraits um of students in high school that I envied because I grew up in white suburbia, and I was just like a little jealous that they got to go to school with other kids that looked like them. Because
Mm.
a part of like just being the only black one of the, like, my family, one of three other black families in our high school, like it, like you feel isolated, like it's weird. You stand out,
Mm.
and so just that feeling of standing out, like as a kid I was envious that they didn't have to like feel like they had to stand out in that way. So I made portraits. I got permission to um, do a project, take portraits of the students after the school program,
Mm.
after school is out, and then yeah, and then just made these really really awkward portraits, or just like they're obviously teenagers, and just really um just 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 awkward. Yeah. So, and quiet.
Well, if you can talk about that feeling of kind of not belonging, because I felt it too, like just by my kind of travels of just putting myself into different locations, which I'm a big proponent of. I think a lot of people should do, to see different perspectives. So there's not just like I grew up in suburb. I grew up in the suburbs too, but I never really felt I belonged anywhere. But
Mhm.
but obviously, it was totally different experience. It was it was, but I felt like I needed to get out of that, like, white male suburbia kind of thing in Boston, and I needed to see Miami. Like Miami was crazy different world. And it's
Yeah.
like I was the minority down there, in class. So it was different. It's Miami's totally it's crazy though. But surprised I kind of made it through because it's. Um, but can you? I don't know. For me, I don't know. I don't like to categorize anybody. Like I see us as human, just it. But obviously, the bigger world, the larger lens of the world sees, has to categorize everything, which I don't like that. It's like you know, so
Me either.
yeah, no, right? It's like, well, yeah. So I don't know. Sometimes I zonk out. Sorry.
I totally understand what I think understand what you're getting at. Like, what does it like? What does that feel like? Like, how did?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, what does it feel like to be that, the only kind of, or one or two of the only, I don't know, a different group, being different in like a, in a majority of certain persons of a group or something, whatever.
Just looking different.
Yeah, yeah,
One person looking different.
yeah, yeah,
Well, it's like because you see it on people's faces. It's like their expression, like the first time they see you. Like when you're there, like so, and it's like they notice you. Like I'd prefer them to not see me, like not see me. I
yeah.
mean, like just in that. But like, and then you just feel it, and then also it's in conversation, like, and then about, it, I mean, unless like, you're talking about something specific, like it depends on what you're talking about and the specificness of it, but it ends up being like you have in conversation tends to be like social also, like class or, whatever, like all those take into place and the opportunities and whatnot and experiences. And so my experience tends to be like that also is also isolated,
Mm,
so it's just like it's the whole thing. It's like walking there, getting there, and then just people like the first time they see you, they feel like, it's like I don't know, like when it like if you were like inviting people over, or like if you were going to a friend's house, like you would say hello to people, but it wouldn't be thrown off guard. I feel like I don't know. It's just you can tell when people just do a little double take or just like, and it's in conversation. It's kind of yeah. So it's kind of in most aspects of
mm. Well,
it ends up creeping up in little ways and different forms and yeah.
well, speaking of that too, like I find it even more so, you would think as a more of an outsider regarding the art world, not a formal art student, I've noticed that there's a big divide too, or just like there is this like it's the same model as late capitalism, it's still, like these applications, open calls, like I don't know, I don't get that process. I think it's very subjective, and I think like same with grants. I think people already have in mind who they're gonna give out the money to for artists. So it's like I think it's just kind of parallel, or just reflects the late capitalist system of, who's getting the money. You pay whatever, like pay to kind of for open calls or submissions. It's just kind of like it kind of parallels that. But so how do you kind of navigate that? Like it's kind of ingrained within the higher ed, particularly like, yeah. How was your experience at Yale? I guess too, because obviously the history of Yale has been Ivy League and stuff like that. And how did you fit in there? I guess.
Um, Fine. I
Yeah.
mean, so well, so I applied and then I changed my mind and then I applied the next year. So
Yeah.
I was all about the work, the photos.
Yeah.
And then I was making City of Brotherly Love and that was really popular. So like I just like the timing of that applying with that project, like got me in. And I'm not the type of person who submits to grants, to shows, to open calls, to like little grants. Like I don't apply to anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was like one of the last things I applied to. But I knew I had, like, before that, I knew I wanted to be an artist, and then I knew the consequences of that, and then and I accepted those consequences. So for me, it was just all about the work. It was like, for me going in, I was like, this is about me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm making this decision for myself and for my future. Like, I'm going to do what I want with it. So I knew, like, it's in every aspect of my life, like those walls, or you always run into those walls, you know, of the system of capitalism, of networking, of like, um what is it, status, or like who is who, you know, like I knew I had an idea that was there, but I was still kind of young and naive. But like I'm like my only choice is just to do what I know how to do, and that's just to make pictures, and
Yeah.
that's for myself. So it was like, I
Yeah.
guess going in it, like I prepared myself just to be me and be myself and make what I believe I should make, and try not to let, you know, other things get in the way, the outside, you know, the hills, the bumps that you run into get in the way. So like our class, like we got along really well. We had a really fun time. And
Mm.
some of us butt heads too, but like that's just like a given when you're with people that you just met for like all the time for 2 years in a row. And you're all stressed and sleep deprived and like, you know,
Yeah.
so, but we all loved each other and we partied together. Like we danced with each other a lot. Um, but yeah, like it was good, and like Yale was really accessible. Like the whole university was really accessible. So like despite being in the art program, like you could like try to get in classes outside of the art world. So that's what was awesome to me, is just that
Yeah.
accessibility, because like I don't just need art, you know? I'm just like stimulated by information and discussion.
Yeah.
So like that was great. I guess like the discussion of my work and like talking about like race politics, like that's discuss I had to find those discussions, like it, or like to for that part of the thinking behind my work. And I like those, like I had to work my way and find those discussions that I wanted to have.
Mm.
um so yeah. And it was definitely like a mind fuck, you know, just like the way grad school is, and school is an institution, and you want to do well, but like you all, like I also told myself like I'm not a famous artist, so I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to have like a ready show in every crit, you know, like.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mm.
that's how I entered it. And I would say I did like like I did struggle throughout it. Like it was, I got depressed and like I did not sleep like a
Yep.
lot. Um, Smoked way too much pot, you know,
Yep.
like.
I know. I know that too well. Actually, funny story. I got kicked out of Yale Art Museum that
Oh,
year. Yeah, I think I was taking a college art class, freshman year at New Haven, and we took a trip to the Yale Art Museum, and I had I smoked a few joints and like a beer or two, and had these guys with me from class, and I think all I remember is like seeing the Jackson Pollock, and then like a guard kind of chasing us down the spiral stairs, and like unfortunately, I think the guard like sprained their ankle, and it was like like, oh my god, just flashbacks. Yeah, it's like I couldn't focus really. I smoked a lot of pot myself. And I was studying criminal justice, and like I feel so guilty, but I need I need some pot. I just enjoy people and partying. I still do, but I mean, I yeah, I've gone through that ring of depression. It's even now, particularly now, initially after the pandemic hit, I hit a boom. It got to me because what I was just out and about, capturing. I love going out and capturing and documenting people. But
Hmm.
this is another format for me of chatting with, you know, doing that aspect of going out. Curious, have you ever turned the lens towards yourself? I've tried to, but it's been kind of awful results, and I hate myself, like looking at myself. You know, have you tried that?
I only do it when I'm forced to.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, I haven't. I know. No, I don't. But like because I became a nominee for Magnum, like I had to give them a profile, so I had to do a self portrait. So I was like, I might as well just do it, you know.
yeah.
But then a friend helped me. But yeah, it is. I never. That was the one time in like the last like 15 years that I've taken a self
It's
portrait.
like, should I have somebody else do it, or should I try it myself? And it's like, I hate
Yeah.
it. Burn. I'm like, even with these, I don't watch these. Once they go live, that's it.
Okay.
Like even like I had some local, like I just moved kind of north of the city right now, like in October in Beacon, New York, which is like a different experience.
Mhm.
So I've been kind of experiencing like I've been displaced, I would say, for like probably 10 years. I've just been bouncing around, but uh, I forgot what I was gonna say.
No worries.
That was too much, of college. But uh, crap. Sorry. But oh yeah, I just once it's out, it's out, and then I go on to the next thing
Mhm.
or next conversation. But I had some local press. It was like a cool local paper that had like article about my work. It was like, oh, the other day. I haven't read it. It's in print and like whatever. Like
Uh,
it's like okay, it's cool, but then it's like gotta move on. I get to separate. I don't like. I don't know. I just if it's good, it's good, but it's not my position to look at that and judge like that. If I put out the work as honest as possible, like with these, I'm not trying to overproduce. I'm just having these real uncut conversations. So I kind of apply that method to um, my photographic work as well, where I don't try to do too much and keep it real as possible. And that's what I kind of liked about your work. Question about like, did you like people on the street for like your series? Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I'm terrible at
Cat calling
reading
one.
it. Oh, your City of Brotherly Love, right?
Yeah.
It was based off of like people catcalling, you guys catcalling and stuff. And then you like so they did the gesture, but then you're like, oh, can I take a photo? Oh, can I make a photo or take or make whatever?
Yeah.
um, so then you approach them.
Hmm.
How much, like, for me, it's so awkward to attempt to approach somebody like, can I take a photo of you? Like on the street, it's like,
Yeah.
that's so weird to me. And like, I find it's awkward. How was that process? Like, I know you kind of mentioned you're shy, but how did you get over that hump and say, I like this idea. Well, I didn't like them catcalling, but I have a really important subject and I would like to put together. So how do you get over that hump, I guess, and
Yeah.
approach those guys, or in just
Um,
subjects in general, I guess too.
yeah. Yeah. I guess, well, like before that, like I discovered that I just preferred photographing strangers.
Mm,
So like even though I'm like introverted, kind of shy, and I would say like now I talk way more than I did in college.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
so in college, like I was much more quiet, and then just time and experience now I'm 34, like or 33, will be 34. But like just I'm more generally more comfortable in public. I still hate like public speaking, but like, and I still get nervous in like work meetings, you know, like when
Yeah.
it's my turn, I'm like, oh my God. Like, but I guess, and one, I just prefer strangers. So it's just it's like a curiosity of my own. And then I prefer strangers because there's always something to discover. Like there's something that I don't know. And
Mm.
I just love that, you know, like there's just that itself distracts me from the anxiety. Like, so it always, like the anxiety is like will always be there. Like I can never, I just have to accept it. Like it, like I can't get rid of it, you know? Like, so every time I approach a person, every time I'm about to like speak in front of people, the anxiety, I just feel it, but like just, I guess you just train your mind not to hone in on that feeling and just like and just think about all the other curiosities that you're thinking about, like who is this person, like they're so interesting, like the light is making them look so beautiful, you know. And it's like, but and that even though they're like were like sexualizing me, like that made me uncomfortable and I hated that. But like I like I'm not religious. I grew up religious, but I'm not religious. But I definitely like treat people how you want to be treated. Like if I'm aggressive and angry towards someone, I can expect them to be aggressive and angry back.
Mm.
So like, um, so that was just my general approach, just like trying to be like calm and like respectful and just like tell them who I am so they don't feel threatened by me, even though like I'm the one who should be feeling threatened. But like, and then just like also like I wasn't scared. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't scared of them. I
Yeah.
wasn't like, and I also wanted them to know that, you know what I mean? Like there's like so like I feel like that's what really like the anxiety is like it's just it I don't know why I have anxiety. It's just something that I have because I don't know. But like um but I also wanted to know that I was not scared and that like and the whole point was for them to see me as a human being and the only way you can do that is by talking to them. So like um and then like after doing it and they forget about it and they're respectful back, you know, and you're just friendly, you know, it's like ends up not being as big of a deal as it was before.
Mm.
Um yeah.
I 100% agree with that. It's like, and I think my thesis on life is pretty much like I think I kind of mentioned it, where I think we all should just transplant ourselves into different, cultures for a while and then understand a different perspective. Just toss yourself right into the bull's ring or whatever cliche, but um, just see
Or
what
just
the other
understand
side. Yeah,
that you're not the only like the way your way of thinking is not the only way of thinking. Or
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, I mean, yeah, I think. But then, if you once you start traveling and exploring different cultures and and uh, different peoples, you find that we're all the same. That we're all trying to work and support children or whatever. Support ourselves. Everybody's trying to do the same thing, and that's what I've learned just by just picking up and going to New York City. It was crazy, and it was like, wow, I have met so many friends and different backgrounds, creeds, race, whatever, but we're all trying to do the same thing of just survive this crazy world. So it's like, with this bifurcated kind of political arena we had the last 4 years, it was just ridiculous. It was so chaotic. Don't you feel a little less stressed now, just a little bit?
Definitely, yeah.
And I'm happy to see like there's a lot less news, like flurrying of like Twitter feeds and stuff, of course, headliners that will just send you down the rabbit hole. But
Yeah.
it's like kind of relieved, but then it's like we still have these deep rooted issues, that have been with us since the conception of the country, the
Yeah.
nation. So how do you fix that? That's the it's you know I don't know, like do you ever see, maybe it's just more futuristic, idealistic, kind of like, kind of like, just hypothetical, like, do you ever see a unified nation, I guess, or at least
Yeah,
more of a progress towards that than what we have now currently?
yeah, I do. And like I have hope. Like I believe in solidarity.
Hmm.
Like, like so I hope so. Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of work. I don't know. I mean, I hope in my lifetime.
Yeah, yeah.
Cause cause it's taking a really long time, like to because people's brains are so conditioned and not everyone travels and opens their mind and accepts difference. Not everyone does that, and or not everyone is comfortable doing that, and they need some sort of guidance to to help them along the way. um it's so hard for a lot of people to go outside their comfort zone, and but so I do have hope. I believe in solidarity, but like from history, like it's gonna take a while for sure.
Oh yeah, no, totally
Yeah.
agree. It's like, uh, I see progress, but then what we've witnessed in the last 4 years too is, two step backwards too, or well, actually, what has been nested, I guess, nested ever since. Maybe hidden away, but then previous presidents kind of allowed that group, those ideas to be public and normalized for that spectrum of 4 years, and
Yeah.
that's where we saw like kind of crazies come out of the woodwork. And um but yeah, no, it's I yeah, I just see us as us, like as humans, I don't I don't really care about any of that generally, or try not to get into that. It's like, once again, it's we're all just trying to make a living and support ourselves and the family and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Bare bones, bare bones sociology. It's but I guess that, were you out, capturing, like, say, the protests and stuff too, like last summer? Were you involved in that, or
I
capturing that?
I wasn't taking photos. I was protesting. I was participating.
Yeah.
Um, so I wasn't taking photos. No, but yeah.
Well, how do you see? I guess then.
My work is less photojournalism. Mine is
Yeah.
like documentary fine art.
Mm,
So like less of like in action and more like slow portraiture, I guess.
yeah. Well, why do you think, like, it's really important, or continuing? Why is it important, I guess, to continue like that type of work, documentary, fine art, photographs, and how can it actually, an important breadth of work? How can it actually help implement change? Like, we've seen strong imagery, maybe more photojournalistic, but or any imagery, I guess, affect sometimes political movements too. So I guess, why is it important work? Yeah.
It's proof, and it's like I mean, like especially the photojournalists that were out there on the streets, like I'm in Philadelphia. What happened in Portland, like just to see that, like there's seeing something, like someone telling you something and seeing it for yourself is there's like a huge difference, like there's much more research involved in believing someone, much more of a relationship involved. But when it's like videotaped and like and people can like and with technology today, like there have been fake videos out there where people are like, this was tampered with,
Mm,
and so we can like photojournalism, ethics of journalism, like I trust journalism, like I trust documentary photographers, trust photojournalists to capture. And like it's important because it's reality and it's what's happening and people need to know the information. And like yeah, and like documentary is just like it's more genuine. And like for me, and what I try to do since I'm not like in the action, like um try to make that genuine portrait so the viewer can connect, like feel some sort of connection, even though it's like just a two-dimensional image, you know, like just they're like they can feel it, like just based like off their expression, you know, like the, you know, the story, the subject matter, whatever, they feel something. And then or and then and hopefully I can make them think. Like that's the, for me, like that's the change. Like like I can't be it, like a photograph is only so much of an activist, you know, or
Mm.
act, you know, like so like all I can do is just give people reality and then hopefully make them think to change their own actions and encourage others
Mm.
to do the same. So
Yeah. Yeah, that is
just
true.
like where their body is, just think about them, and or like, you know, like another perspective, you know, like
Yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, I guess, yeah, you're just opening the lens or door to, a new perspective,
Mhm,
and your chosen perspective
mhm.
of subject of interest. I guess, yeah. Without what do you think constitutes fine art photography comparatively to, say, documentary or, well, obviously, we know photojournalism is, pretty obvious, but I'm confused because I never had the formal training, and then I'm like, I've kind of tried, these grants or things, and I'm like, I don't know where I belong. Am I editorial photographer, or, once again, but I've never kind of really understood what fine art photography is considered. Is it more?
Yeah.
Do you put more of yourself or your viewpoint into the work, or is it more produced? Or do you go out with intent with the specific language?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a style,
Okay. Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Because that's confounding, because it's like I could, because you see like works later on from, like, Magnum guys, I guess, people, and, you know that's more photojournalistic stuff,
Uh-huh.
but I mean they're in galleries too, so I'm like,
Yeah.
what once again, I don't like this categorization, because maybe it's just me, I don't know, but that's like a question I had too, is like, what is fine art comparatively to, but who's to say? Is like, I'm a big proponent, if you want to create, just create,
Yeah.
whatever you want to, whatever medium it's calling towards you, or if you want to like cross transfer too, you like, say, photographic stuff and painting techniques, and actually I've played around with that, like cut and paste stuff and the scanning techniques, and came up with some pretty, probably dark images of me, just this is my attempt to internalize or showcase some raw emotion of, like, um I've seen a lot of stuff, like, photographic shows, or recent stuff of trends of pandemic stuff, of like, uh belonging in the sense of pandemic, but I haven't seen too much of what it actually feels like to be truly trapped and truly depressed in this time. So I try to submit to, like, this local photographic uh, thing, and they're like, yeah, it doesn't fit in. I'm like, but I thought the whole show was about belonging in the pandemic, and I was like, uh, but they're like, it doesn't fit in with the other work, and like, see, that I didn't like that. It's
Yeah.
like, I I'm trying to just, maybe it's awful, maybe it's just terrible work, I don't know, but uh,
That's just one place. That's just one person.
yeah. Oh, I know. Well, attempting this process, I've been so self conscious about my work. It's like, now I'm like, I've been feeling kind of defeated on that end. But I've just self-produced shows like in the city where I've had, my music, live performance or backstage shots printed in a venue in the city, and then have live bands I've shot, persons I've shot perform too. People love it. I love getting people together.
Nice.
Once again, party. I mean, I just love, and that's the thing. But um, actually, I could show you a rough print of what I did, what I was talking about. Um, it's kind of spooky.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like it. I just watched. It reminds me of the murderer with the mask. Sorry.
Oh,
I just
Jason,
watched,
or
yeah, Jason.
yeah, yeah.
I just watched that last night.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I've showed it a few people. I'm like, oh, it's scary. I'm like, oh no, and I hope it's not too dark. It's like I
I
was
love
just,
it. I love dark art. I love it.
I like with this one, I initially took a self portrait, like in this space, so we just with the out the lights on and put tape over my mouth. It was my kind of response of my being silent during the protest last year. It's like, how can I don't know what to say. I don't know. Well, like, I saw a lot of people, notable, people, white people, like posting, like I didn't want to post anything. I didn't feel right posting. It wasn't my. I didn't feel like, uh, it was my place to interject myself, you know.
Yeah.
So I just, but I still want to kind of try to document how I feel about the situation. And I was like, all I can really say is, or attempt to document, is just my silence on everything, of the pandemic, of me being trapped, of my mask, being masked. So I took a image of me with tape over my mouth, like kind of like bound.
Mhm.
And then I kind of then like cut it out and scanned it in, and did some cutting and cut and paste kind of techniques of kind of reminiscing. I love literature, so like, William Burroughs is kind of always my go-to as well, just as poet kind of and craziness. It's
Yeah.
kind of still live in that kind of world of bohemia. Um, I wish things were like that too, like just like, but but yeah, I guess a lot of the form where I was just trying to get is just like I feel like a lot of formal institutions that that pipeline didn't really understand that. So it's like I like doing my own thing, I guess. I I didn't really have a sorry, I didn't really have anything like a. I don't know where I was going with that. There we go. I just kind of was talking to the point of like how, like, I don't know. Yeah, just being silent in an era where everybody's trying to say something, but then it's like, I don't know, like where. How do I stand? I don't know. It's, I
I
guess.
mean, you might be silent on social media,
Yeah.
which I think is fine. But like talking to you, like here, like I feel like on your YouTube page, like you're not silent because you do express your feeling and like you care about people, and you want to treat all people as human beings, like so like there are as like social media like doesn't really count. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
That's true. You're right. Yeah.
And it's like yeah, and like I have the urge just because I do it because I'm like angry and like some and like I know I have some followers that I know that like disagree with me, so I do it on purpose.
Yeah.
But like um but like I guess more so like in everyday life, like if you see someone demeaning someone, please don't be silent,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and like, at the grocery store, like or like um in the workplace, like for in all aspects, sexual harassment, racism, classism, like it's just like hopefully not like yeah, yeah, that's yeah. I know. I could see you in everyday life
Yeah.
speaking up for good, for
Oh
better.
yeah. No, I've like prior to just fully committing to kind of this crazy journey I've been now I've was kind of in tech in Boston. I was in UX design, and I was like at a financial firm, which was sometimes it's fascinating problems. I love complex problems, but I saw there's inefficiencies there, and I spoke up, and my contract just kind of ended quickly.
For the better. So
Yeah,
'cause, yeah.
yeah, no. So you're right. You're right. Maybe I haven't been. Maybe just on like Facebook, and I'm not on Twitter whatsoever. So yeah, it's like maybe I stayed silent there. But if when I see injustice, I'll speak up. Because it's ingrained in me, and that's why I study criminal justice. I want to do good, but then I
Yeah.
realized that the system, trying to work in that system of criminal justice system, wasn't for me. It's the bureaucracy. You see, all the bureaucracy in that, and it's like once again, I didn't want to be put in the position. First of all, I didn't want to have a gun. I don't like guns. Second of
Mhm.
all, I didn't want to be in a position to have to shoot somebody or be, it's not me. That wasn't my vibe. But I did pick up the interest in photography more so through, forensics, like a crime scene. You have to document
Yeah.
all the minute details of things through video and camera stuff. So I learned some techniques there, but more on the documenting evidence. So that's how I kind of view um, the world through the lens as well, kind of like evidentiary, um, observational,
Mhm.
um, and once again, yeah, it came natural, and then kind of universe kind of said this is the path to go. And then the pandemic hit. I'm like, oh, I love because I just love interacting with people and going. I love Philadelphia too. My
Yeah.
first image that I've ever shown in public, actually in Chelsea at the Clio Art Fair, was the Clio Art Fair for independent artists. So it was kind of anti-fair comparatively to at the time of oh my god, it's the big fair in New York. It's oh my god, I can't think of it, but
In Crown Heights?
no, it just in New York in general, generally,
Oh, oh, okay.
what is it? I forget. Sorry.
Flower Festival?
Oh, just like they always have it on the pier. It's a big art kind of festival.
Oh,
Armory show,
okay.
stuff like that. It's kind of,
Yeah.
but yeah, my first shot series work I showed then, and it was of a gentleman. Actually, maybe you see him in the frame back there. He was a
Okay.
gentleman who just approached me. He was kind of um, he was on the streets. He was living on the streets, and I was actually just came from picking up a Philly cheesesteak for the first time. Um, and then we started chatting, and I asked if I could snap a portrait of him, and yeah, but I just love Philly. I guess that's where I was going, but that kind of uh, I don't know. Sorry, I guess there was no underlying thesis besides I miss just traveling up the East Coast, I guess, and because I find
Interacting with
that Philly's just a beautiful city too, and I love that diversity, and it's like smaller than New York, so it's like it feels less chaotic at times,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I guess kind of where do you see your work evolving to? I guess like are you working on something now or is kind of
Um, yeah, I'm actually finishing a short documentary.
oh
So,
nice.
and it's actually of a protest. So it's a film of a protest. The Walter Wallace Jr. protest in Philly. He had a bipolar episode
Mm.
and and the cops ended up killing him.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I guess I don't photograph protest, but like maybe I would like I have filmed a protest, so it's about 15 minutes long. It should be done in by April, I feel like.
Hmm.
I'll definitely send it to you once it's done
Yeah, for
so you
sure.
can watch
That'd
it.
be awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, um, yeah, I'm investing. I gave it to a color grader, so color grader is working on it right now.
Hmm.
So and then I need to find a sound engineer to do it, to do the sound. So
I may I may know somebody if you're
okay,
interested.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Super
definitely.
talented guy. Aaron Emanuel. He's in Somerville, Mass, right now. I trust him in his work. I can send you his info. Kind of,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah. If I'll let him know too, because
Oh,
he's done audio and sound engineering for a lot of films too. Um,
sweet.
he's a
So
sweet musician too.
okay. I need less of design because I don't
Yeah.
have any music. It's mostly like talking
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
like background noise.
I'm sure. Yeah. They'll put you in touch, and he is the music guy. An audio guy. I know.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. See, I like that. I like connecting people. Like that's me. Like that's what it should be about. But realistically, who knows? But I don't actually. Yeah, interesting question that came to mind. It's like, do you find it? Say if like it's on the subject of like, say is like a white male myself trying. Say if I want to cover like, say like try to immerse myself into culture in Crown Heights. Um, do you I feel like that wouldn't work too well. I mean, I would have to be accepted into the community. I feel like if I did have a subject of mine in that community, I'd feel like I would be out of place to try to immerse myself, I guess, within that. Is there, I guess the question is, I mean, who should cover, you know, a certain culture? Should it be somebody from that culture, or could it be no? Because or could it be like somebody like an outsider? But I mean,
I
does that
think
make sense? Or
yeah, I feel like someone from the culture because like yeah, because they're the only ones that truly know and truly
yeah,
understand, you know? So like um but like yeah, and it gets complicated. Like ideally, like if the subject could choose their photographer, I feel like that would be the best, you know?
yeah,
Like choose their own person to represent them. But like it's generally better for someone from the community to represent, besides someone who has no idea, who's just going to go in with preconceptions, with um, ideologies, like with something that's been projected from an outside, so it's
yeah,
not it's not genuine, like, or I mean, unless it depends on the attitude of the person and the relationship of that outsider with that one subject in it who is inside, so
yeah.
like
That's true.
I
I
feel like
mean,
if it was a close relationship, it might be a difference,
mm,
but yeah, if it's like it's always yeah.
yeah, you're right. You have to have that close relationship with it, with the whatever community and subject. Or if you don't, you have to kind of immerse yourself and say, I'm going to be in this community for years, like a
Mhm.
true kind of more anthropological kind of approach of just, I'm here just in the community. I want to be part of the community, and then start from the bottom up and earn trust, right? It's
Yeah,
earning that trust.
yeah, and like if I end up photographing, like I always try to show the person, like
Mm,
and let them tell me that they're not okay with it, like, and I want to hear why, like, so always make sure that like the subject's comfortable and that they feel represented some in in their how you know what I mean. that
Yeah.
they feel represented.
Yeah. Like a funny story that is like when I moved to Crown Heights, I was on Nostrand Ave, if you know Nostrand
Yeah.
Ave at all, and I was trying to take pictures, and then this dude's like, "Yo, white boy, you know where you at? You're on Nostrand Ave," and like this dude, like everybody kept on shouting, "He's taking pictures." I'm like, "Oh crap!" They either think I'm a narc or it's like because there was just dudes like slinging across the street too, like just kind of dealing. And it was like, oh crap! All right, I'll put my camera away. So it's like, I kind of felt that. I was like, okay, but I mean, Nostrand's still kind of sketchy, just
Mhm.
with like, but he's like, it was just like that, and there was times too, like there was a group of kids, younger kids, like kind of follow me and stuff, and but I like whatever. But it was a once again, I put myself in a that other situation where unfamiliar situation. But I met so many great people, local. I made so many friends around that area. I just love that area too.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just yeah. I guess it was just a weird, surreal kind of experience. Of like, oh wait, I have to really be cognizant of how if I take out my camera, who's observing,
Yeah.
and if I'm offending anybody, or if they just think I'm a narc, and then I'm like, or like undercover. I'm like, all right, I better say I'm not. I'm not a.
But that's why I always just ask people like if I can photograph them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, actually, it wasn't of people. It was just like
Oh,
trying
oh,
to take just a shot of the street of, and then it was just a guy saying, "Yo, what do you you know where you at, bro? You're on Nostrand Ave," and it was like, okay, I know what it's about. So it's but it wasn't of like a specific person. It was just like trying to take the scene, the general atmosphere of the,
mm,
and just play around with the. It was just a small little cannon. I was just playing around with, seeing if it still worked.
mm.
But
Yeah,
um,
you'll be fine. I feel like you could do it again.
oh yeah, no, I missed that area. I've been, I went from there. I had a windowless room there. It was weird. And then I had an issue with the landlord because it was illegal, and then I had to move, which then ended up in a warehouse. Uh, and now I find myself like 2 hours away from the city, which I don't like. It's kind of too country up here and just
Um,
secluded. I love the city, any city really, of just that diversity. And yeah, I miss actually going to like just bars or just talking to random people at bars and just collecting stories is
yeah,
really what it's about. I just collecting the stories, and because like you said before, it's like you never know, everybody has a story to tell and you never know what they have to say.
yeah,
So listening is it's a critical skill, right?
yeah, for sure.
Um yeah, I don't want to keep you too much. I mean, I could ramble on and on. I feel like I'm kind of nervous rambling. Maybe just too much caffeine as well. But um,
Cool. This was fun. I
yeah,
enjoyed talking.
same to you. I mean, I have no like. Yeah, I guess anything else you want to say? I generally try not to plug, but I know like I've speaking to a lot of musicians too. They have like albums coming out, or like you said, you have the kind of working on a new documentary. But I generally don't like to blatantly plug things. But if I think this is a good vessel too to just say if anything new is coming out and stuff like that too. Just because you know I've been picking up some viewership, so it's good vessel to try to get people to view your work too as well. But
Awesome.
or
Thanks.
anybody's work, but
Yeah, just the film, the 15-minute short documentary, and then I'm just gonna start thinking about new work right after it's done and out there. It's back to the brainstorming, planning board,
oh yeah, yeah.
and still image making. So I'll probably go back to photographs after this.
Well, I love your use of shadow too, because I love shadow. Like I love dark. Like, I just love shadow too. So try to keep it cinematic in my
Yeah.
style. Um, and I forgot to ask, like, what is your influence? Or like, uh, besides
I'm
photographers, do you pull from film at all, or cinema, or?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm inspired by everything, like art, people, meeting people, everyday life, like um photographs, like scenes. Like I'm not the type of person who obsesses like or just like has a favorite photographer or a favorite filmmaker. Like
Yeah.
I have favorite photographs and like favorite moments in films and like, like favorite, yeah. So like and I love fiction, like love reading novels too.
Mm,
And but I also like, I guess the thing that I do, I'm not like a very knowledgeable person of politics, but I listen to politics a lot. So like maybe that's my tiny obsession is just always I'm always tuned into the news and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't make me sad,
mm.
no matter how horrible it is.
Well,
It
you
makes
have,
me it makes me mad and it makes me want to do something. So it's
yeah.
like, yeah,
Well, you have your receptors up, and you just listen, and which
yeah.
is good because most people don't, and they're just so unaware of
Mhm.
what's going on because everybody, has their own bubble of life. They have to take care of family, they have work, juggling that. So,
Yeah,
and I guess that's the design of late capitalism is keep everybody distracted,
yeah.
behind the what's going on behind the curtain of, but. um Any particular book that you've really been interested that's really you've held on to for a while or influenced you, literature-wise, at least?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like a one and done. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I like read it and then I'm done. And I'll like it and then yeah.
Do you remember any of, like, from like, see, I love to read as well, and then it's I couldn't, like, reference it, after it's gone. Once again,
Yeah,
it's like,
I
move
can't
on
do
to the next thing,
it. Yeah. It's subconsciously back there somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. It'll come out if needed, if it comes up in a conversation. Oh yeah, I read Whom the
Yeah.
Bell Tolls or whatever, but yeah, I have books all around me too. I, I've been painting a lot. But anyways, I'll let you go. And it was a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah. Likewise. Thank you.
I look forward to hopefully seeing the documentaries, and I'll definitely put you in touch with the sound guy. And
Okay.
cool,
Cool. Thank you so much.
very welcome, and enjoy the afternoon.
Yeah, you too.